Elon Musk. This fucker struck again. Now he has reinstated the personal account of the Christian terrorist QAnon fuckwad Marjorie Taylor Greene. It was banned back in January for, get this, for violating Twitter's COVID misinformation policies. Forget the fact that she's a treasonous whore, just a low-life piece of shit from here in north central Georgia who wants to overthrow the government and establish a theocracy run by scum like her. And the reinstatement of this person comes after Elon Musk over the weekend reinstated the account of the worst human being ever to run for any office in the history of this country, the Orange Vomit. Donald Trump reinstated his account too. He was banned in the aftermath of the January 6th riots on the Capitol in 2021. But it's okay now, huh? Right, Elon, you racist son of a bitch, you? At the time that the Orange Vomit was banned, there was concern that was it worth the risk of further incitement to violence if Trump were allowed to remain on the platform. Now, the Orange Vomit, in his usual grisly, self-referential way, he said, he won't return to Twitter. I don't need Twitter. And as of yesterday, he hadn't tweeted since the reinstatement, although he hasn't deleted his account. Oh, he'll tweet. I mean, this fucker can't possibly stay away from the 40 million people who follow him on Twitter. Now, Musk apparently, this is bullshit, but he decided to base his decision to allow the Orange Vomit back on the site because of an unscientific Twitter poll that Musk posted on his timeline. And, of course, there was no such poll for the bitch Marjorie Taylor Greene's account. And earlier, Elon said he would not make major decisions about content or restoring banned accounts before he set up what he called a content moderation council. Such a council does not exist. Or if it does, Twitter nor this racist South African Elon Musk has made an announcement that such a council does exist. And when questioned by the Associated Press yesterday about this council, Twitter raised the middle finger and said, get the fuck out of here. Or a little bit differently from that, said, we're not going to answer, which is the same thing. Elon Musk has frequently expressed his bullshit belief that Twitter had become too restrictive for a racist white South African like Elon Musk. That's probably true. And before the midterms, Musk urged his so-called independent-minded Twitter followers to vote Republican. Oh, independent-minded, but hey, listen, vote Republican. I wonder how long it'll be before he allows the murderous fucking ghoul Alex Jones, who was banned in 2018, when Musk will allow him back on. I don't know if you know this information about him. He's 51. He was born June 28, 1971, in Pretoria, South Africa. I think his mother is Canadian, so he moved to Canada in 1988. Now, we are products of where we're born and the families in which we are born, the nation in which we are born. Yeah, we're products of our culture. In 1971, South Africa was in probably the bloodiest part of apartheid. Apartheid, which was the belief that black folk had no rights, even though it was their country. And the white people, the Germans and the English and the Dutch who had moved to South Africa, invaded the country a couple of centuries before, they had all the rights. They were white. Apartheid ran from 1948 until the 1990s. And the premier of South Africa, as Elon Musk was growing up to the age of 17 or 18, the premier was the infamous P.W. Botha. You remember him? Who was an absolute racist, absolutely refused to acknowledge black majority rule in South Africa. Oh, and the United States government supported him, especially Reagan. Oh, Reagan loved him. But we supported Botha because he was also an ardent anti-communist. Well, there you go. We would support a rabid dog if somebody would say, well, it's an anti-communist rabid dog. Back in the day, anyway. So when Botha was the premier, the leader of South Africa, the well-off white people, white youngsters who were growing up at that time, knew as just a matter of fact that the blacks were only allowed to come into their neighborhoods to clean or maybe cook or do the shit work, and then they had to go back to their so-called encampments. And in the middle of this was Elon Musk. Finally, Botha had to resign. In February of 1989, he suffered a stroke. Actually, in 1989, he suffered the stroke, and then 6 months later, he was forced to leave the presidency, and that's when de Klerk, I think, was the next prime minister of South Africa. And de Klerk made some efforts to make up, that's the wrong term, but try to ameliorate the racism that South Africa had been living under for a couple of hundred years. Mandela was released from prison. There are all sorts of things that happened under de Klerk. But Botha was the ardent racist that influenced the thinking of all the young white people, except the ones who said this is wrong, and Elon Musk was not one of them. So Elon Musk carries with him his racism, his contempt for people that are not of his ilk, and that's impossible now since there's only one Elon Musk. There's only one richest man on earth. I don't like Elon Musk. I don't like what he represents. I don't like what he does, and I don't like what he's going to do where it concerns allowing this vicious Christian demonic terrorism to spread through social media. But this is just an extension of Elon Musk's childhood. Hi, Truth Seekers. Mike Malloy here. You know, the Progressive Voices Network brings you commercial-free commentary from today's leading progressive radio hosts and pundits, like me, Mike Malloy, 24 hours a day. I'm not your typical old guy from the 80s or the 90s talk radio host, and Progressive Voices is not your typical talk radio network. It's a listener-supported nonprofit with no corporate control whatsoever over our broadcast. So hosts like me, Mike Malloy, are free to rant and scream and carry on about whatever we like. We're often controversial, but we're never boring. Weeknights, 9 p.m. in the East, 6 p.m. in the West on the Progressive Voices Network. Always progressive, always on. I'm Mike Malloy. Keep it lit.